Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Randy Rex Show. My name is Randy, and I am so excited to be here, and I am so excited for you to be here. So, thank you so much, and I hope you enjoyed this show. So, it's a very special episode for me because this is becoming more of a safe space for me where I can just be my unadulterated self and you know there's like some sort of element of like accountability for even on my sake to like keep myself always open and challenging bad habits that I'm trying to unlearn. So it's been a busy time for me, and at moments whenever I feel stressed or worried or that you know things aren't going the way that I planned, or I'm just not happy about certain things in general, this um, coming on here, and obviously like watching Survivor and being a big fan, and that going into spending every Wednesday with my family and watching the show on family nights. It's kind of the center around family nights. So, you know, now to be on here and just keep talking about it and nerd out, so to speak, is such a shining light for me. It's something that I know a lot of people wouldn't really say like much about it. Like, okay, yeah, like you're standing in front of your camera and you're talking about a dumb TV show. You're not really doing anything. Um, but for me, it is something. And I'm always going to hold that near and dear to my heart. I'm always going to gravitate to this. I'm always going to do this. Now that I've started, I've always been that type of person. So I'm not going to change myself now. So it's episode 5 of season 48. Obviously, the chatter around season 50 is crazy, but I'm going to steer clear of that and focus on episode 5. We go straight away into the Vula camp where Thomas was just voted out, and in a kind of foreshadowing, you see a little bit of the two sides coming together and saying that they want to work together and that it would benefit both of them. It's so funny because Jeff talked about how this is the season of duos or pairs. And Kyle and Camilla are clearly one of those duos in that with this new Vula tribe, they are hiding their closeness as much as they can and get away with that, which is just mind boggling. So that is going to be something both of them can put in as a feather in their cap of like their accomplishments for their gameplay. So the first challenge is a reward challenge, and obviously we see Bianca kind of shocked that Thomas is gone, her number one, but more on that later. Ultimately, Say's tribe, what is it, the Siva tribe? The Siva tribe, they lose, and she gets a little salty with Mary for how excited she is that her tribe won. So Mitch even speaks up at the end of this part where he's just like, be quiet, don't say anything. And then even later when they're in their camp, he and Chrissy are talking about how annoyed they are with Say and how they want to get her out. And Chrissy is mad that Say immediately went to go eat some fruit after this challenge, even though she didn't participate because she wanted a break. And Chrissy even said that she's like, I've participated in all the challenges too. I want a break too. Say's like, I'm not gonna get you know, she's like, just don't talk to me about that because I earned my break. I'm not gonna concede that, which more power to her. But so there's that distance. Mitch and Chrissy talk about using Bianca to get Say out should they lose and go to tribal. It being a 5-person jury, they would have the votes and they could say, see you later, say. So we see the winning tribe, Logie, go to the sanctuary, and it's a great time for everyone. They're loving all the stuff. The second place tribe that gets the basket of like the items that were at the sanctuary, it is Vutha. It is that pair at the beginning of the episode of Kyle and Camilla in one group, and then Joe and not Thomas. Thomas was just voted out. Joe and Shahan. I feel like I'm saying his name wrong still. Anyway, sorry. I'm sorry. And they're eating and they're, you know, celebrating their win and their bonding. And then I believe, yeah, this is where they talk about their family's history and the different cultures that they come from and the kind of just the discrimination that they have faced throughout life and the kind of big life choices that they have had to make and the things that they've had to do for safety, for asylum, for just to like live a normal life and like raise a family and have them be safe and healthy. So this mons all of them. It's like all four of them kind of have something that they can speak to in the sense of that, where it just really solidifies this foursome going forward. Now, why are they showing this? Are they actually going to last? Are they going to turn on each other as soon as they can? I think that they could potentially write it out to the very end. I think that with the four people that are there, they could stick together. I think that they would ride together if it benefits them. So, it was teased in the previews for this episode last week where there's this just big moment that's never happened in Survivor. And it was in the immunity challenge. If you haven't seen it, they even re aired it yesterday because it got so much traction and people were just talking about it like crazy. But we're essentially at the end of the challenge, it comes down to Siva and Logie, with Eva being the last person that needs to get a little ball on this like puzzle maze, this hand puzzle, like tilty table maze. And each tribe member has to get like one ball in the little thing at the end. And so like everybody has like got their ball. It's like she is the one. She has to get it. Like she is the only one. It all comes down to her. And like obviously, in my recap of episodes 1 through 4, we talked about how Eva went to Joe about her autism and how she could have an attack and to help her if that ever were to arise. And she's able to pull it out. But like the just all of that and then the excitement of I don't this is what she says later, but like she just got overstimulated and she like has this attack to the point where like Jeff even is like, Joe, can you go and like give her a hug or something? And that's whenever he like hugs her and like talks her down and like squeezes her hands. He like does all of the things that she asked him to do if she were to ever be in that state. And I cried. My cousins cried. I don't know if Kari cried, but I know Ivani cried. I cried again when I rewatched it. It was just so heartwarming to see the connection and the camaraderie between the two. And even in a game of Survivor, it's something that even Jeff comments on where He's like, this is a game of Survivor, and you're kind of exposing your connection here. And he's like, I don't care. This is a human thing. This is beyond the game. And even later in camp, Eva kind of says the same thing to the rest of her tribe mates. And Star, in particular, her original tribe code tribe member, if you will, from their original tribe, was like just so grateful that she put that information out there, and she felt this bond with her, to where she not only told her but the whole tribe that she has the beware advantage. And Eva kind of played it off. It was like, "Oh, I asked you about that. You're such a good liar." And essentially, Eva is the one that cracks the code for her, even though all of the tribe is helping her. And I did put out some misinformation last episode where I said Star already had her idol and her vote back. She did not, but she does now. But she does give the idol to Eva in almost like a little truce, she says. And she says she found it. It's hers. I want to give it to her. But everyone knows she has it. So Siva before Tribal is kind of like a little bit confusing to me. Because, initially Bianca's talking about trying to get the four other people to put two votes on, like, two people to put their vote on one, two people to put their vote on another. It be a tie, she be out of the whole mix, and then they vote one of those people out. Because, she doesn't have a vote right now. So, we have Mitch and Chrissy from their original tribe together, and they're talking to Cedric about who they should vote out, and they admit they want to stay out. Somehow, in some way, Chrissy takes this conversation with Cedric that he's on board for that, which he's not. He never really said that to her. And Chrissy goes to Bianca. So Bianca, of course, checks in with Cedric, and Cedric's like, no, I'm voting Chrissy. So you kind of see Bianca's struggle here, where she wants to tell Cedric she doesn't have a vote, but she's too worried. Um, she does get out of Cedric that he does feel like Say is a liability, but he doesn't want to take her out just yet. So finally, Bianca does tell Cedric that she does not have a vote. But he's kind of like, this is like way last minute. Why are you telling me right now? And he doesn't really like do seem to do what she wanted when she tells him. She's like, I want to build some trust with you. It's like, you're so hesitant though. Like, you're just like waffling. It's like, oh my god, are you gonna tell me or not? Like, do you want to build trust with me or not? So at Tribal, Chrissy says that, the obvious thing would probably be for the two pairs to come together and vote out Bianca, because she is the only one from Tribe before the swap. She's all by herself. She doesn't have anybody that she started out with. And Cedric's like, well, the game of Survivor is a little bit more complicated than that. Bianca, in some way, does get around to pitching to this four, whoever is at the bottom, saying, like, once I'm gone, it's going to be the four of y'all, and you're going to be the next person. But this does not work, because even Bianca is shocked when she gets voted out. Say is shocked, and Chrissy even points out to her that there was no fifth vote. There were only four votes. So that was this episode of Survivor. It's funny because nobody picked her in our draft, but it was sad to see Bianca go. She was such an interesting character. I wanted to see how far she could go and how far she could take her grit and her tenacity. She just kind of had this way about her. Like, she just kind of had like this natural knowledge for people. It seemed like, just like able to like really um bonds and talk with people and just get to the nitty gritty. And so maybe that was a threat. And, who knows what else was going on for the reason that they made the decision they did. but I loved her tenacity. I loved seeing her in action. And yeah, I can't wait till next episode. I just want to thank you all for hanging around and listening to me rant about this crazy TV show that's been on for nearly 25 years. Survivor 50 is coming out next year. That's crazy. I can't believe that. Um, so I need an audition. That's the point of it. So love y'all. I hope you're all taking care of yourselves, and please audition for your Survivor. Whatever that is for you, do it.